Get out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even in my feelings, grind don't stop. Got big dreams, want big rocks. I got plans, you got talk. Heard it's real cheap, but it's really gon' cost. I'm tryna get these ends, building empires with my friends. I'm about handling my business. No time for stress over bullshit. You think success is an option? I'm tryna get this shit poppin' like woo. Big moves, my rules. Y'all heavy on the tweeting. I'll disappear a whole season like woo. Who said they looking for me? I'ma make you.
Hey D Marie TV family, so today we're going to be covering Love Marriage Huntsville season 6 episode 28, Houston, Here Comes the Problem. So this episode picks up where we left off last week. It's Stormy and her husband Courtney at playing pool with Tisha and Marceau. They're supposed to be on a date night and some type of, I'm not sure what this is. It's not a pool hall. I'm not sure what facility this is in. It's a really odd place to have a date night, in my opinion. Tisha and Marceau came in an hour and a half late. They picked up again the topic of Stormy calling Marceau a bitch. So I'm not even sure why we needed to see more of this. It's so ridiculous. I'm not sure how many times we have to watch this. Like, this has been, I think, stretched over 4 episodes, and Stormy has no intention of not calling Marceau a bitch when he's acting in a way that she feels is misogynist, and he is displaying attributes of a really fucked up woman. So, like, that's what she chooses to call him when he behaves in a certain manner towards her. And she's offended by his conduct towards her. She feels like Marceau is demeaning. She feels like he's talking about her culture in a demeaning manner, which he is. Stormy came on this show with the expectation that she would be exalted. She would be looked at as, you know, up here, and everyone else would be down here. And she herself, through her actions, through things that have happened with her company, she's knocked herself down a few pegs. She chose to align with these people. And, you know, when you fight with Peach, you get dirty. So you put yourself in this position because this is who you chose to align with. So I'm not really concerned about Tisha and Marceau and Stormy and Courtney fighting. I think it's well deserved. I think she's here because she chose to be with these people, and now she's understanding who they are and how they move. If you expected Tisha to be sorry because you were embarrassed that she used your Canvas Beauty policy, then you haven't been watching the show. Tisha and Marceau use people all the time, and they don't get embarrassed. As long as they make $1, it worked for them. And she told you that. They made money off of it, so she didn't take no hits. And that's basically where they are. You have to meet people where they are. So Stormy storms off. She gets on the phone. Instead of addressing Marceau, she gets on the phone. She pretends she has this crazy, important business call. And she does the same thing she did at the Black Expo. She has a problem with business that is distracting her because she's frustrated. She uses her business as a buffer. Like, when she doesn't want to engage in conversation or when she's frustrated, she acts like, oh, there's so many important things going on with my business over here that I can't give you time. That's not true. If she wanted to give them time in this moment, she could have. She knew there was no important phone call that she had to take. If you had an important phone call to take, then you wouldn't have scheduled a double date during that time. You know what I'm saying? So it's all, again, just kind of, it's not genuine. It's made up. It's a made up situation. And if you knew you was going to have a date just to be with somebody, then why have the date? It's crazy. So that's where we are with this thing. Tisha is very surprising in this moment. She never stands up and says, "Do not call my husband a bitch." That is so odd to me. Like, she was ready to take Mel's head off constantly. But Stormy routinely gets in front of her face and calls her husband a bitch, and she says nothing. And she is appropriately the person who should be addressing that with Stormy. Stormy and Marceau should not be going and arguing back and forth. And Courtney's like, he don't see no problem with her calling Marceau a bitch. So does she call Courtney a bitch at home? I'm not sure. But it's very odd to me how the spouses of each of them are just allowing this to go on when interjecting could help put a stop to it. So I guess the end result is Marceau feels the way a lot of the public feels. He's not interested in moving forward with the relationship because he does not find any value in it. If they want to get better, if they want to, get to know each other better and really become friends, then he'll invest some time or energy. But if not, then he's not interested in it. And that's kind of how I feel about both of these couples. I'm not interested in them. I don't feel like they've invested enough in the show. I don't think they're truthful. I don't think they show real situations and real life issues. And I'm not really interested in them. I'm not invested in their stories because they haven't invested in their stories themselves. So, next. Now, my exact statements about Tisha, Marceau, Stormy, and Courtney apply to the next scene, which is Kimmy and Maurice. So, y'all, Kimmy is not feeling loved. Her love languages are acts of service, and she likes quality time, and she's not getting either one of those things at a time that's really important in her life. And so her way of requesting that is to improve her libido, because I guess she feels like if she can perform better in bed, she can get him to do acts of service and spend quality time with her. This is what this whole scene is about in a nutshell. So I would like to not get into this, but this is all we got. So let's talk about it. The idea that they have used their sex life as a storyline this entire season is just ridiculous to me. It's ridiculous to me that nothing is going on but this issue with their sex life. It's so crazy. And they're not really talking about what it is. This woman clearly believes that if she is not sexually active and doing what this man wants her to do sexually, she is going to lose him. She's terrified of that. So her whole focus, everything she wants to talk about, is her sex life and how she can perform better and get her libido up so she can satisfy this man. And in that, knowing that Maurice is promiscuous, knowing that Maurice is over-sexualized, knowing that he and his brother and his friends all look at women as sexual beings and just want to pounce on people, and she decides to bring in a gorgeous female sex therapist to talk to her and Maurice about their sex life. Now, we see Maurice all the time. Very rarely do you see Maurice smiling ear to ear, his eyes engaged. You very rarely see him emote any emotions of happiness. Like, roll back the tape. Unless he's clowning with his brother at a reunion show and overly laughing at their jokes, you don't see Maurice in that light. He's not a jokey type person. Right? But wait till this sex therapist comes to the door and walks in. He is smiling and grinning from ear to ear. His eyeballs are almost popping out his head. Sometimes you don't need to say anything. You just need to watch their behavior. And this is exactly why Kimmy is so worried about their sex life. It's not their sex life that she's worried about. She's worried about him cheating, and she's fearful that she's going to lose him if she is not feeling like some little hot sex kitten that can be tossed around whenever he wants to roll her over so she can take it. His words, not mine. If you're offended, blame Maurice. That's how he described his sexual interaction with his wife. So in comes this therapist. She is a gorgeous woman in her own right. We look at this man's expression when this woman comes in. Now, understanding the dynamics between men and women, one of the first things that will happen if a man or a woman is attracted to you is they will direct eye contact with you and they will smile. They're going to give you something from them that emotes that they are happy. that they're getting to know you. They're happy they're in your presence. That is how it starts. It starts with a beautiful, wonderful smile. That is how your body language is saying, yes, I'm open to engage with you. It's as simple as a smile, right? That's how you show attraction to someone. Watch this man when this woman comes in, and he also checks her out. I'm just saying, look at it. Now, I'm not going to go all off into this, but you see how he reacts to beautiful women. Maurice, Marceau, Martell are exactly who they've told us they are, or who Martell has told us they are, and who they've shown themselves to be. We know who these men are and how they move. She knows who they are and how they move. You know what I'm saying? She knows him. Her problem is not that they're not having enough sex or her libido. She says herself, I don't have a problem with having sex 2 to 3 times a week. He wants to have it 2 to 3 times a day. Her problem is he is not valuing her as a woman. There's no intimacy between them. She feels like it is sex and only sex. She does not feel like he's tapped into her emotionally, physically, mentally. It's just the act. And because it is just the act of sex, she's not aroused by it. The sex is not turning her on, so she does not want to do it. In other words, his ish is trash. And she does not want to engage in it because it is not pleasurable for her. The therapist quickly calls it out that the problem is intimacy, which everyone else knows and can see. Kimmy wants to say it's about how much sex they having in her libido, and it's not. We've had to listen to this mess for the whole season because Carlos King finds it interesting. He finds them interesting for whatever reason. He thinks this is an interesting topic, so we all have to be bored by it for a whole season. It's ridiculous. They have issues. She knows what the issues are. He knows what they are. We all know what they are. It's not an issue for him. Ass is ass to Maurice. If she gonna give it to him, great. If she don't, he gonna get it somewhere else. And that's what she has a problem with. We don't need to keep having to watch this and sit through this every episode. We're all clear on what Kimmy's issue is with Maurice. And we really don't care about what's happening in their bedroom. She knew who he was. She knows who he is. That's who she chooses to make her husband. So she's accepting what she has to deal with. Don't bring us in it. We don't want to listen to that every single episode. We don't. Now, towards the end of this session, of course, Maurice asked the doctor how often she's in town. But we all know Maurice don't like therapy. All right, y'all. So the next scene is at PBR Lockhart Smokehouse, and this is a barbecue joint, country western themes. There's a mechanical bull inside of the restaurant, and the team is meeting up here. Everyone's getting together with the Fletchers, and just the Fletchers in their confessional scene. This couple aesthetically are gorgeous. They complement each other so well. I love their outfits. I love the hair on Neil. I just love it all. They are a very beautiful couple. They complement each other so well. It reminds you a lot what we liked about Mel and Martell when the show first came on. They give me that feel. But as the couples are coming in, Stormy and Courtney come in, Marceau and Tisha come in. And when Marceau and Tisha come in, of course, we just saw them have this whole big old blowout when they were on their double date, playing pool. And so now we come into this scene and Tisha walks in, and when they left, she was like, oh, we won't be meeting again. And, you know, I should have stayed at home and girls speak on your problems. So Tisha comes in today and she's like, hey, Stormy, giving her a hug. And Stormy's doing her little messed up face she always do. And she hugs Courtney. Courtney hugs her back. Courtney and Marceau shake hands. And it's just weird. Like, we just saw y'all arguing, and then the next scene, y'all, hey, it's weird to me. Then it moves to Stormy and Courtney's confessional, and Stormy's talking all this smack. And I'm like, why does Stormy never says what she feels in real time? It's always a whole bunch of mouth after the fact. If that's how you felt, then why did you act like it was okay for you to hug her? Why didn't you move back and say, I'm good. We don't have to do all that. You could have said something in the moment. You always let a situation go by and then talk about it later with all this aggression and authority that you didn't have in the moment. It's just passive aggressive. It's annoying. I'm not sure why Stormy keeps doing this. She puts herself in these situations and then it looks one way when she's done, when she leaves, and then she's on her confessional talking about how opposite it looked, It's just an odd thing that she does. She's never real. She's never someone who tells you what's really going on. She's always that's what's up. She don't give you the that's what's up in the moment. She does not. The that's what's up happens after you've calmly parted and she goes her way and she's sitting in a confessional and had time to think about, oh, this is how I'm feeling about it, so I'm going to come hard in this confessional. It's whack. So then Mel walks in, and Mel comes in looking cute in her orange and brown dress, and Nell makes a comment that she looks sexy, and Marceau says, ain't nobody playing. What is that? Tisha, get your man. So as everyone's coming in, Nell's giving out cowboy hats. She has a hat for everyone. People are asking, listen, what's going on with the cowboy hats? Why are you giving out cowboy hats? And she says, we're going to Houston. You should see these people's face. Stormy's face, Tisha's face, Mel's face. They like, you can tell these people don't really rock with each other. This is really just like, what in the world? You have to look at their faces. It's not so much about the body language is everything in this episode. You got to pay close attention to it, honey. Tisha looks like what? Stormy's like, it's just crazy. Marceau, of course, is overly crunk about it. He always ready to go somewhere and act a fool. Courtney looks like he wants to kind of be excited about it, but he's looking like, is Stormy okay if I smile? It's just a mess. It's a mess. So I don't know. I just feel like they have to get this together. They have to get it together. Martell does not have a smile on his face. And Nell is saying they're not taking no for an answer. Everybody has to go. Is it just me, or do you start to see a little apprehension on the part of Tisha and Marceau? I feel like they are kind of apprehensive about what Stormy and Courtney would say because they don't want to be left out if they agree not to go. I could be reading too much into this, but that is what I'm getting from him. They start to look a little worried that Stormy might not want to go. So just pay attention to it and let me know what y'all think. Drop some comments and let me know if you picked up on that or if it's just something that I'm reading too much into it. But when Nell said they all have to agree to go, I saw their behavior switch to where they're like, oh no, we're all good, we're all cool. And they're not. They're not cool. And that they are aware of that. But they're saying they're cool because they want this trip to happen. So I'm not sure if them all going was a requirement for the trip to happen and they were worried that they wouldn't be able to go, but that's just what I picked up on. Now Martell immediately starts gyrating and rolling his body and sticking his tongue out like he going to party. And Mel goes into her confessional and she's saying, listen, she's a little hesitant about this. She has concerns about staying in the same house with Martell. We remember what happened in Vegas, and how he behaved. She does not want to have to deal with him on that level anymore. So she's openly stating that, listen, she needs to be at the opposite side of the house in a room with a lock on the door. She does not feel safe in this man's presence, and that's just the way it is. Nell makes it a point to say that the men are going to have themselves some time together and the women are going to have some girl time. And then she says that she did invite the Whitlows, and Tisha's like, we need the Whitlows because they make good drinks. It's so funny to me that now Tisha needs the Whitlows. Tisha wants as many people there as possible as long as she ain't got to sit and talk to Mel or Stormy. But before, they were totally against the Whitlows, so it just shows how shady they are. Well, Kimmy, of course, picks up on what's going on with Stormy, and she pulls her aside to talk to her and to let Stormy kind of vent about what Stormy's going through. That's all Stormy really needs is a little attention to bring her back on board. She just wanted somebody to recognize that she was over there like a toddler rolling around on the floor saying, hey, I'm over here, look at me. Kimmy gave her that, and so now she's feeling better and she's on board. Whatever. And Kimmy's essentially doing what she always does. She'll tell you in your face that everything's cool and she'll pretend to be your friend, but the line is always drawn with Scott. And she goes into her confessional. She's talking about how Marceau and basically Stormy act the same, and that's Kimmy. She's gonna always side with Scott and Marceau no matter what. He does all these things, but they do all these things, but it's okay that they do these things. They're good people. That's Kimmy. Pick Misha. Now, I don't mean to be shady, but I did peep Stormy's zebra outfit in her confessional, and I just want to compare the two zebra outfits of the month between her zebra outfit and Melody's zebra outfit, and y'all tell me what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Melody killed that. So the next portion of this scene is where I think we're starting to see a little bit more of Chris Fletcher's personality creep out. It's creeping out slowly, but it's coming out for sure. Chris clowns Martell at this table. And Maurice is not helping at all. So Martell makes the comment that he ain't got no woman. And Maurice says, so you're not bringing any imports? And Martell lets it be clear, hey, I know some folks out there. So what? So Chris Fletcher says, not only do you not got no woman, she ain't even got your name no more. I hollered. Oh my goodness. And then Maurice is like, hope. Everybody knows that this man is so butthurt that this woman has changed her name, but let him tell her he ain't got no problem with it. So listen, Nell decides she gonna ride the bull, and this is what really broke the ice with everybody. Everybody was all cheering and laughing about Nell getting up on this bull, but Nell did this bull. She got up on the bull, and two other of the employees that worked there got up on the bull to ride the bull with her, and Nell did a good job. And listen, Marceau gonna say, Nell riding that bull, he was like, okay, Chris, I see you, 29 years of marriage. Marceau is a fool, okay? He is crazy. But this got everybody excited, and it broke the ice, and everybody's laughing and having a good time. And so I think this is what kind of got them revved up to get ready to go to Houston. So as they start going to Houston, you start to see that they have these names for each of the characters, right? Well, as they begin to start the Houston trip, they name each one of the cast members a different name. So Melody is Saloon Slinger Sally. Martell is Tantrum Todd. Marceau is Slippery Pete, and Letitia's Grumpy Gus. Kimmy's Whiskey Lips, and Marceau's Curly. Courtney's Wildcat Willie. Maurice is Curly. And Stormy is Twitchy Trigger. Nell is Juggle Spurs, and Chris is Rusty Razor. Fletchers do what any couple does. If you the first to the house, you find the best room and you lock it in. So they find the biggest room in the house that is separate from everybody, has its own bathroom, living space, and they take ownership of that room. And the next person into the house is Mel, and Mel comes in and she's all excited. Her energy is good. But Mel does have to have a quick conversation with Chris, because he immediately starts to do the you and Martell thing. And again, she had to directly communicate with him. This is not going to be that. I don't want you trying to pair us together. I don't want it to be a jokey situation. This is not that. They're not good, and she wants to be separated from him. It's very important when you do kind of group trips and stuff with people that you have a space that you can go to so that you can decompress. For some people, it's a lot to be with a bunch of people for a very long time. You need a space that you can go to clear your head, smell your candles, get yourself together, just relax, take a bath. You need some place where you can have some peace to yourself, even though you're in a group situation. I do these, but I don't like to do them often for a very long period, because I'm someone who needs my alone time. I definitely need my alone time. And so my preference in doing things like this is to have a bedroom with my own bathroom and my own living space, in case I just want to chill and relax, at some point in time during the vacation. So I completely understand Mel wanting to have, a space that is hers where she don't have to deal with Martell. In the event that something kind of goes left or he starts to get on her nerves, she has a place that she can retreat. That is her space. So of course the next person who shows up is Martell himself. He comes in. He always wants to act like everything's all good, even though he's trying to take this woman's kids and over here acting the fool with this other thing. He still wants to act like everything with them is all good. It's not. And so he comes in and he's like, hey, Nell, hey, Mel. He speaks to her and Mel ignores him and just throws up a peace sign or a deuces, whatever. Whichever, she throws up a deuce sign. And he's like, oh, she ain't even speaking. And then in his confessional, he's like, oh, it's okay that we don't speak or whatever. Since when? Just like 2 episodes ago, you were saying y'all was the best of friends when the cameras wasn't on. Now it's okay if y'all don't speak. Which one is it, Martell? It's crazy. We know what it is, especially now that her phone just went live and we got to hear what happens at the game. Y'all are not at the game speaking. Y'all are not at the games being besties and talking and sitting by each other. We heard exactly what happens at the games. And what happens at the game is exactly what happened on this show. She paid you dust. Next in is Kimmy and Maurice. And Kimmy talking about it should have been somebody at the car with a drink. I'm with Kimmy on this one. I rarely, am in support of Kimmy and her thoughts, but I'm with Kimmy. Listen, if we on vacation, I need to be greeted with a drink. It should have been some drinks in the kitchen. It should have been some drinks at the car, something. We need some drinks. So then Nell announces that Tiffany and Lou are not coming due to family issues. And y'all know, if y'all been listening to my videos about Love Marriage Huntsville, y'all know how I feel about the Tiffany and Lou situation. I think it's more to that. Only time will tell, but maybe listen, I understand that she says she has postpartum depression, but I think in addition to that, there's more going on between Tiffany and Lou themselves. I really do believe that. I think that baby Ace is amazing. He's a gorgeous, beautiful child. But I think having a baby at this time in their life created some stressors and it's putting a little pressure on their relationship. And they're probably in a fight to try to save their marriage. That's my opinion. That's what I think. Then here come Tisha and Marcel. Tisha has on a turquoise hat, a jean shirt, long sleeve. It's hot as hell outside. Some pink Daisy Dukes and some tan high heel boots. Where the hell is she going? She looks a mess. And Tisha's too cute to be walking around looking like this. Tisha is a beautiful woman, but somebody needs to get her wardrobe together. What is that? I find it funny. Ever since Letitia and Stormy done got into it, she making sure she giving Mel them hugs, honey. She gonna have to try to find her some allies. She always gotta switch it up depending on what's going on with her in the room. Whoever she beefing with, she's nicer to the person she was previously beefing with the scene before. Tisha's a mess. Then Nell goes into showing people their rooms, and this is what gets me about production in this show. Everyone knows the most important rooms we want to see is where you put Mel and where you put Martell, and the distance between those rooms. With a production show, a Jack and Jill room between Tisha, Marceau, Maurice, and Kimmy. Don't nobody care about them. We wanted to see where you put Mel in conjunction to Martell, but production did not find it necessary to show that. And this is why this show be taking hits. They constantly doing dumb shit like this. Nobody cares where the Scotts sleep. Nobody cares about the Scotts. We don't care that they're in a Jack and Jill room and have to share a bedroom or a bathroom. We want to see where you put Melody and where you put Martell. That is what we want to know. But y'all didn't show it. It's dumb. So once they get everybody to their rooms, the Fletchers come back up to the kitchen and they begin to cook, and they go back to Kimmy and Maurice to continue their discussion about their sex life. It's whack. Production is whack. They all need to be fired. They need some new people out here who do not want to focus on these Scotts and let them talk about this whack sex life for the whole season. Trash. So Kimmy's talking about they have to do their homework from the therapist, and then she's also decided to address what Maurice said on Carlos King's interview, with Maurice saying that Kimmy rolled over and took it while she had cancer because she was doing something for him and because he does for her. You know, I guess this is her way of addressing what happened, and like he has to apologize to her mom, and he wasn't protecting her. All of it's bull. You know what I mean? The man said what he said. That's how he feels for real. He backed that up, and he just literally backed up the statement when he was talking to the therapist. He still feels like this is just a mindset with her. So this whole, oh yeah, I'm gonna apologize to your mom and this is what I'm gonna say. This is just them trying to save face. Maurice said what he said, period. And then, as if that wasn't enough of the Scotts, we go to the other set of Scotts who over here talking about Tisha being pregnant. And Marceau has had a vasectomy. This is all made up. I do not believe this scene, this argument, none of it for a second, a minute, an hour. It's all made up so they can have a storyline. You can almost parallel the Scotts. It looks like the Scotts get together before a season starts and they decide what they're going to talk about. They decide what they're going to do. And I think Stormy's included in this as well. And they decide the fake arguments they're going to have. And that's what they have scenes about. Tisha, like, come on. Tisha does not believe she's pregnant. She does not believe she's pregnant. Marceau has had a vasectomy. Everybody knows it. He did not have the vasectomy because he didn't want Tisha to have more children. Tisha's up there in age. He's up there in age. He had a vasectomy so that he could cheat without getting caught up like Martell. And so did Maurice. Said, well, why would Maurice have a vasectomy? Kimmy's like 50 something. There's no reason to do that. They did it because they're active cheaters and they didn't want to get caught up like Martell got caught up. They didn't want that smoke. So they fixed the problem. They just shut it down. People who have vasectomies when they having children back to back and the woman does not want to go through preventative surgery to prevent having children because it's a much more complicated process for a woman to do it. And I can see that when they're at a particular age, when they're during their childbearing years. But when you older and everything's chill and all that, I mean, you know, or y'all would have the discussion about the vasectomy, and they didn't have that. These aren't conversations that they sit down and discuss. They just had the vasectomies and shut it down, and then told the women they had the vasectomy. So Marceau telling Tisha to get a blood test and that he will leave her, and she's saying, I will leave you first. I believe this is all conjured up so they can have something to discuss on the Houston trip. So there you have it. It's another episode where I get excited when I see Melody and the whole group together, but a lot of the Scotts in this episode, they're down times for me. It's kind of like a ebb and flows. The Scotts are boring to me. They're not believable. Stormy's in that category with them. So that's kind of the boring time when you get to the barbecue joint and they're at the saloon, everybody's together. You get kind of a rise. It's a good, fun, entertaining scene. Then it goes back down when you're dealing with the Scotts. When they get to Houston, it's good. The whole group together, great. You get to the Scotts, it's a lull again. The Scotts are dragging the show down, and so I can't possibly give the show more than 4 or 5 when you have so much of the time occupied by the Scotts. So I give this episode a 5. I would like to have seen more about where Melody and Martell were staying in the house. I wanted to see that. I didn't care to see where the Scotts were sleeping because it doesn't matter. Nobody was checking for that. So another production fail, another mishap. I seen that the views were down 40,000 viewers last episode, and this is happening because they're showing too much of the Scotts. People don't want to see them. They need to focus on the meat of this show. And the dynamics that we're interested in is, what are you doing with Melody and Martell in this house in Houston? How are you all protecting her? That's what we want to see. That's what I want to see. So hopefully we'll get some new content next week. Things will pick up. Stormy and Courtney will arrive and add a little bit more to the episodes, but we'll see next week what happens in Houston and how everyone conducts themselves while on the trip. Please let me know what you think about the Houston trip. Let me know what you think about how production decided to film the trip and what they chose to show. Drop me some comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and hit that notification bell so that you're aware every time I drop a new video. Have a good evening.
Get out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even if my feelings grind don't stop. Got big dreams.